Hello, my name is Anita Reddy, and I'm a holistic nutrition consultant. My philosophy when it comes to good health, a good immune system is we need to make wise decisions and wise choices when it comes to what we eat and how we live our lives. And it's surprising, but every small choice really counts. It's not like, one fine day I wake up and say, I'm going to have an apple because I just read that an apple is great for health, or today I'm going to do some lemon because it's full of vitamin C and it's going to bring back health to me. It doesn't work like that. It's very important to keep the consistency up, to do that incrementally, to make those small changes, to take those baby steps every single day makes us stronger, not just with respect to our health, but there is a mental strength involved. If there is a goal I want to get to, if I have an expectation out of my own health, then I have to work towards it. I may have to change my behavior with respect to different things like what I eat and how I live my life. And so I think this is an everyday thing. This is how we want to start living and inspire those around us that this is the way to good health. So today, we are going to be talking a little bit about our immune system. But before that, I have my business. It's called Nutri007. If you want to know more about what services I offer and what my philosophy is, just like I just explained earlier, please do visit my website. It's nutri007.com. I do different things like one-on-one consultation based on specific issues that one is dealing with. I do tutor children on nutrition general and good health and choices they make because it makes a big difference. We never had that when we were kids. We just knew an outline. Kids need to know more so that they grow up to take better decisions when they're independent. We do it for them as parents, but we want them to be completely convinced. So I'm trying to do something on that front. I also offer corporate counseling with respect to nutrition and lifestyle. We have amazing minds out there, and we need to make sure that they're taking care of their health to bring out their best. Today, we're going to be talking about a burning subject. It's on everybody's minds these days, and rightly so. It's our immune system and what can we do to make it stronger. The human immune system is very intricate and complex. It's basically a network of cells and proteins that help our body fight against any disease and infection. And it's not like it's in one organ or one place, it's distributed all over our system and they work amazingly. You have an amazing network of communication happening when to do what to keep us safe. And it's so seamless, we just don't realize how we walk away without getting infected on a daily basis. Our immune system is at the top of its job. And when you have an immune system that's built that way innately, we're born with it, there is something going on along the lines. We probably are not doing enough to let it do its job. And that's what this session is all about. We want to let our body do its job. What can we do to support that and nurture that through our choices that we make with respect to food and lifestyle? The immune system has a memory. It remembers what visitors it's had and it makes sure to communicate that to the rest of the army so that everybody is on an alert mode. And next time your foreign visitor enters, your body knows how to take care of it. And we're going to be talking about that more as we go. Any abnormalities of our immune system could lead to allergic reactions or diseases, autoimmune conditions, or any immunodeficiencies. There are different parts to an immune system. I'm not going to get into the details of every part of the immune system, but give you a broad outline. You've heard about white blood cells. They have a different function versus the red blood cells. These are our soldiers. We have the T cells and the B cells. T cells for any kind of viral invasion. B cells for bacterial infection. We also call those the memory cells. We have antibodies. We hear this all the time, and I need to get my antibodies up. I need to make sure my child is stronger and get his antibody count up. They have a specific to play. We have our lymphatic system, which is spread out. It's basically nothing but our mucus lining, which is like our first line of defense where it's like to slow down any foreign entity coming in, capture it, engulf it, and take care of it. We have our spleen and thymus, where the filtration of the blood happens, and of course, the bone marrow, which is key to immune health. Body's defense against the microbes. The first line of defense is, of course, the skin. There is a pH value that it functions at its best. It's acidic. It's a waterproof barrier with oil on it. It has the bacteria killing properties because it's the first line of defense. We have our lungs, the phlegm in the lungs, which is there for a reason. It's to slow down, like I said earlier, any invasion, capture it, take care of it, and help us cough it out. Our digestive tract is very key to immune health. Our stomach is amazing. It releases acid when we eat food because the food that we eat may not be very clean. Our ancestors had food from the dirt around them, could be moldy, could have some bacteria in it. So our stomach takes care of it by releasing acid at a very low pH, an acidity level of 3, at which it functions to make sure that it's breaking down the food that's coming in, taking care of any kind of bacterial infection or mold or fungi in what we're eating. Other defenses that we see are, of course, our saliva, tears, skin, the oil on the skin, all the antibacterial enzymes, the urinary tract and the bowel, all these help in removing any toxins that we have inside of us. Fever is an immune response by the body. And generally, you see a 104 or 103 on your thermometer. It senses on a high alert mode. We want to take all the medication we possibly can to bring it down. And yes, sometimes we may have to because we don't want to let other organs in the body, like the brain and all, undergo a lot of stress. But little fever as high as 100, 101, your body is actually trying to do what it's meant to do. It's trying to understand the entity that has entered the body. It could be a bacteria, it could be a virus. It's trying to understand how the enemy functions so that it gets its guard up the next time it's in your body. Because the strains are different, it may not be the same virus that's coming in each time. And we need to kind of go through the fever just so that the body understands what it's doing and does its job. So that's about fever. Now, let's try and understand a little bit about how intelligent our enemies are. They know we are intelligent. They figured that the human body is capable of doing whatever it possibly can to toss them out of the system. So the enemies have to come up with a plan of their own. We call these enemies the pathogens. It could be a bacterium, it could be a virus, it could be any other microorganism that can cause us infection or disease. They are very sneaky, because they know that we have this capability of tagging them when they enter the system. They know that we have a network going around where we can alert our other soldiers that they're hiding, and then we need to take them down. So what is it that they can do? They kind of camouflage themselves into our own body tissue. They hide in crevices. They can hide in the calcium structures. They do whatever they can so that they stay hidden. Another tricky thing that they manage to do is, if they can get through our cell wall and enter our cells, they use our DNA to start making copies of themselves, which is getting our body to a point which probably is very hard to us. They start making copies of themselves, and that's when we say our body has been hijacked. So that's how clever our enemies are. Now, what is it that weakens our immune system? Quite a few, actually. But there are some key things that we do regularly which weaken our immune system even more. The direct sugars, we've all heard it before. Sugar is bad, it's bad for teeth, it's bad for overall, the immunity of the body, bring it down. The doctors tell us to consume less of it. There are guidelines on how much to consume. And I would say it's best to consume none. So that's the direct sugar, the white stuff that we see, that we add to our beverages, that we add to our desserts. There's a lot of hidden white sugars and other processed food that we pick off the shelf in the supermarkets. Easy to eat food, easy to prepare, easy to store. It's beneficial for both the seller and the buyer. The breads, the pastas, all the regular high carb refined foods or the refined carbohydrate foods out there, which make our life a little easier with respect to the time we put in for cooking. So those are the other hidden sugars. And then, of course, there are the poor quality oils. Now, this is not very easy for some of us who are used to eating outside, who are used to eating pre-packaged foods, because most of those are made with oils like canola oil, the cottonseed oil, soybean oil, safflower, sunflower oil, the grapeseed oil. These are the oils you're going to see. You just go to any supermarket and look at of the packet on the ingredients. This is the kind of stuff you'll find, and these are really detrimental to health because they are high in omega-6. Now, omega-6 fatty acids. So when you break down fat, you call them fatty acids. They're the small components of fat. Uh, we need little omega-6. We don't need too much omega-6. And you can get them when you eat the whole foods. Say I eat sunflower seeds. I get a little bit of omega-6 from there that my body needs. But when I overdo the omega-6 through the oils and I don't balance it with the omega-3, that's when we have inflammation. That's when we have a poor immune system. We're compromising on our immunity. So that's about the quality fats. What is it that strengthens our immune system? Besides being very cognitive and aware of what we're eating, um, putting more mind into what's going into our food on a daily basis. This is just a breakdown of all that. Minerals, minerals like iron and magnesium. I'm going to be talking about that more as we go ahead. Vitamins A, B, C, D, E. Trace minerals, which is zinc and selenium. High quality fat and protein. Water, sleep, exercise, and stress management. Stress is a biggie in this because when we're stressed out, we kind of become very susceptible to any infection that is lingering about. And it's very hard to put your finger on it, but there are studies which have shown when students are, um, when they are stressed out, they do show, they've tested out in two groups, a group that is not as stressed and a group that is stressed out. And they've seen that when they're subject to some kind of an infection, the group that is not stressed out did much better than the other group. So there you have it with the stress. So we need to do something about that. Vitamins. Now, vitamin A, when we think vitamin A, we should be thinking colors like red, orange, and yellow. So all the dark leafy greens for sure. So sweet potatoes, carrots, squashes, pumpkins, mangoes, papayas, all these are high in vitamin A. Vitamin A, now we can get it from our daily foods. This is not new to us. We've been doing this from a long, long time. We just need to pay a little more attention to quantity that we're eating. Definitely fresh is always the way to go. But if you cannot get your hands on fresh vegetables, then you can go for organic ones. And if you don't get that also, maybe you could do the tinned ones as long as it's safe to eat from there. Vitamin B. Bees, we all know that comes from, we get bees from the meat that we eat, but we also have other sources like the leafy greens. Nutritional yeast is big on the vitamin Bs, eggs, legumes, seeds, and nuts. Vitamin C. So it's very general. I mean, even a small child will tell you, oranges have vitamin C, and that's true. Lemons have vitamin C. But the one vegetable very high in vitamin C are the red bell peppers. Kiwis are high in vitamin C. Cabbage is high in vitamin C. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts are high in vitamin C. So we need not be doing only fruit. Fruit is, I think it's on the second tier. The first preference is always to go for the vegetables that are high in vitamin C because fruits have fruit sugar and you're doing, you're still doing sugar, but you're doing it in a more, in a different form, maybe a more, it's more holistic to do sugar from the fruit. So I think that would be a good strategy to swap out your desserts for fruit. I think that's a good beginning place to reduce the direct sugars and to incorporate some fruit. If somebody's having to do supplements on vitamin C, Then it's called the liposomal version of vitamin C. That is what is most absorbable by our body. So we could do vitamin C in that form. D3 is tricky because we get our D3 from the sun, most of it from the sun. When it comes to food, it's the egg yellow, which some of us toss out because we think it's high in cholesterol, and that's not true. Eggs are great, egg yolks are even better. So please do the egg yolks. For those of us who are living in warm climates and we are lucky to see the sun every day, please do spend 30 to 60 minutes or 45 minutes in the sun, walk in the sun. It's great for us. It strengthens our bones. It does a lot with respect to immunity. And for those of us who are not lucky to see the sun half of the year or more, maybe, you have to supplement yourself. You may not be supplementing yourself the same in summer and winter. So bear that in mind. Winter, you may have to go a little higher on your dosage. And then vitamin E. Vitamin E, we can get it from nuts. Almonds are high in vitamin E. Sunflower seeds and pine nuts are high in vitamin E. Now, coming to minerals, magnesium is very important. Earlier, I was talking about stress and sleep, and magnesium is one mineral that's very important to really help us wind down and bring our immunity up. So, magnesium, you'll find that in avocados, nuts and seeds, legumes. Iron. So, we have two kinds of iron. Iron is heme iron, and we call it the non heme iron. Heme iron is what we get from meat, and that could be your organ meats, seafood, anything at all. Non heme iron are the beans and lentils, nuts and seeds, dried apricots, prunes, dates, broccoli stalks, and green leafy veggies. Now, I've said meat a couple of times now already, and always make sure you get yourself the organic, grass fed, and grass finished meats. That's the best way to go because all the toxins that even the animal consumes, they go and reside in the fat layer, and we don't want to be consuming that. So it's very important to go in for the organic meats, grass fed and grass finished. And try and look in your local markets. That's the best place. You don't want to go in many miles out of radius because you don't want irradiated foods. Go for seasonal, go for unprocessed local foods from your farmer. Trace minerals. Selenium is high in Brazil nuts. So most of us do all the other nuts. We do the cashews, we do the almonds, we do the pistachios. They're great, but try and incorporate 2 to 3 Brazil nuts on a daily basis. It does a lot of magic when it comes to selenium. Rather than trying to take a supplement, which you may need to based on your health condition, but try and get selenium from a natural source like Brazil nuts. You don't need much, 2 or 3 go a long way. Iodine is another mineral that our soil is highly deficient in these days because of where we have come to with respect to science, technology, change in our agricultural methods, the toxicity that we have started putting into our soil. So we need to take extra care when it comes to iodine. Not all the vegetables that we eat are grown in soil that is enriched with iodine. We would get a lot of iodine from the sea, whether it's seafood or sea animals or sea plants. Try and incorporate seaweed in your diet. Wild salmon, wild caught fish, shrimp, any of those do well when it comes to iodine for you. Zinc, another trace mineral we hear about a lot these days because it is said to help in immunity, and yes, it does. Oysters, shellfish, meat, eggs, nuts and seeds, kale, and mushrooms are high in zinc. Shellfish is great, but sometimes people report that they're not very tolerant to shellfish. The could have more toxins. So do it if you can, because zinc is hard to get from the daily foods that we consume. So you may have to take a little more care on a daily basis when you're having zinc. So you may have to supplement. Go for something that is more bioavailable, that is more absorbable by the human body. And then a very important category is the probiotics. We all have already heard it, I'm sure, in the last 10 months, 11 months, that your immunity, the secret to good immune health lies in how healthy your gut is. And rightly so. Gut Our gut is basically, again, it is a big time barrier or our defense mechanism to these foreign invaders. The gut lining is basically a very intricate wall woven tightly. The cells are plumbed up and they're together so that they don't allow these entities to get into our bloodstream. And so we need to do whatever we possibly can to make sure that that mesh is it's tight and woven. Yogurt is high in probiotics, we are all aware, but there's some of us who cannot tolerate dairy much, in which case you could have kimchi or sauerkraut, they're fermented pickled vegetables. Cabbage is mostly used for the preparation of kimchi and sauerkraut. Aged cheese, miso, which is when you do miso, try fermented miso soy. Natto is again fermented soy. And pickles that we use in some parts of Asia are also high in probiotics. Just make sure whenever you pick a probiotic off a shelf that it doesn't have too many chemicals. It has a few ingredients possible, and it's always better if they're organic. And if you see oils listed anywhere, those ingredients that you're reading, make sure they're not any of the bad quality or the low quality oils that we discussed earlier. Booster foods and ancient herbs. Now, some of us would have heard these foods growing up in your household. People are doing this in their cooking. I'm going to visit them now. So garlic is a very deeply rooted in some of the cuisines, and it's great. Raw and cooked both has more potency when it's raw. It's antioxidant, it's antibacterial, it's antiviral. So it's good to incorporate that into our cooking. Ginger and elderberry are great when it comes to our respiratory health. Elderberry syrup is good. You could do an organic elderberry syrup when you know that a little one at home or you yourself are sick and having a lot of cough or phlegm developing. Elderberry is great. Turmeric or turmeric is anti-cancerous. Great to sprinkle over your sauteed veggies or eggs. It blends so well with anything that you're making. Turmeric is great. Sometimes people put it in their smoothies, and that's great too. Try and get it organic. um, Echinacea and astragalus are these two ancient herbs. The echinacea grows more widely in the Western world, and so you would hear of it more over here. And astragalus, you would find it more in the eastern side. Eastern medicine would talk about, ancient medicine would talk about astragalus. Both are great for the lungs, for the respiratory health. You could incorporate those two. Gooseberry, again, very famous in Asia. People use it in their cooking. They make pickles out of it. They make jams out of it, and that's great too. The jam is not great, by the way, but yeah, it's great to use it in a number of ways. Chili, cinnamon, cloves, black cumin, licorice. These are the other. St. John's wort is great for healing. Green tea is full of antioxidants, and cocoa and cacao. Cocoa, cacao, there's a difference in how they're processed. They're not the same. Cacao is more of the raw version of the cocoa. That's why it appears lighter in color, has a lot of antioxidants. It's high in copper. It's good for health. Cocoa is great if it's unsweetened. You could use these in your smoothies. You could sprinkle it over whatever your fruit or whatever you're having. When it comes to teas, herbal teas and green teas, I think they are very effective because they kind of become our go-to beverage and help us stay away from a lot of, you know, food that we want to indulge in just because we're bored. So I would use those as a good strategy to get the antioxidants in, and you're also keeping away from a lot of binge eating. So that's how I would use them. But having said all this, one thing I would like to caution you is the booster foods and the ancient herbs, you don't want to do them in very, very high quantities. When I say booster food, a little bit goes a long way. And if you already have any pre-existing condition and you're taking some drugs for that, we do not know exactly how they're going to be interacting. So you don't want to do very high dosage supplements because you just read or heard that they're great for health. Yes, they are great for health. You have to take care of whatever state you're in. Please consult your doctor, your nutrition consultant, or your dietitian, whomever you're working with for your health. Please do talk to them before you go overboard on any of these. But try and use them in your cooking, and that's fine. So, a brief summary of what we went through. 80% of what goes into strengthening the immune system is the diet. 20% is probably adding something else extra on top just to make it a little stronger. But what you eat on a daily basis, which is the macronutrients, we call them, the carbohydrates and the proteins and the fat, to take care of those, you have actually taken care of a large part of, the damage that you could do to your immune system. So consuming high quality fats, consuming high quality protein, consuming lesser carbs, and make sure whatever carbs you're consuming are coming from things like vegetables. You can do complex carb here and there, and that's fine. But it's very important to take care of these ratios because high sugars and a high carb diet could lead to inflammation, and whatever the body is trying to do on the repair front, we may not be doing it a favor if we do not take care of these components. So these are the macros and micros, like we discussed, the micronutrients, whatever we spoke about regarding the minerals and the trace minerals and the vitamins. That is what you could add to your overall cooking or even element. So, like I said, a rainbow of colors, lots of vegetables. I cannot emphasize enough. Please do a lot of vegetables. Try and buy them local, organic. They will do you a lot of good. We need the fiber in our gut. It's very important to get the toxins out. Adequate water intake. Some of us live in areas where we have good water because our resources are nice and they're not really, they don't have as many chemicals and some other parts of the world. So it's always better to check that out in your locality, in your wherever you're living. Find out how the quality of the water is. Try and use a filter if you possibly can. Consume adequate amount of water because most of the times we are dehydrated, and that can cause a domino effect in several other ways. Exercise is another interesting area when it comes to immunity. Most of us, including me, I have lived in this, in this phase in my life where I thought exercising a lot helps me, it's going to make me stronger. But I was wrong, and I learned it the hard way. And this is for those of you who think the same way. There is research which is telling us that the elite athletes who kind of overwork themselves actually do not have great immune health because they are under constant stress, and there is a muscle degeneration over the years. Um, Good respiratory health doesn't happen over there. It doesn't happen also that category of people who do not exercise at all. It has to be right where it should be. Just like the soup I give my little child, I give her a bowl and she says, "It's boiling hot, I just possibly can't have it." And she leaves it to cool down and goes around, plays a bit, and comes back and says, "Now it's too cold." It's the same with exercise. It's our Goldilocks principle. Not too hot, not too cold, just the right. You want to hit the sweet spot and get the right amount of exercise, which is the strength training, resistance training, 3 to 4 times a week, not more than 45 to 60 minutes. So HIIT training is great, the high intensity interval training where you kind of take your heart rate up and down. So that's what we want to do when it comes to exercise. So research a bit about that. Whatever you like to do, what is it that you can do, or obviously based on our current situation, we have to kind of think a little more on how to incorporate that. Sleep. Most of our repair, neurological repair, immune system repair, gut health repair, thyroid gland repair, all the repair work that our body wants to do, the regeneration and repair stuff happens when we are asleep. And we want to get the best sleep possible on a daily basis. This has a lot to do with our behavior and a little bit about what we are eating, because food that's not high in quality, foods that has lots of toxins in it, and food that is generally not helping us is also not going to let us sleep well. So what is it? When is it that you turn in? What do you do right before that? When do you wake up? What is the first thing you do when you wake up? All these things help determine the kind of sleep state you are in at night. Magnesium is a key element for good sleep. Try and get that sleep in. It's, if you ask me to choose between the, I mean, I wouldn't choose, both are important, but which ranks higher, exercise or sleep? I'd always say sleep and the exercise. Meditation is very important. It helps with our stress. It helps us in kind of moving away from whatever chaos is happening around us, and kind of kind of helps us, center ourselves. And that's very important. Like I said, if your stress level is high and you don't know how to take care of it, you are susceptible to a lot of infection and disease. And supplements, I have covered them along the way. When we spoke, where can you use them and how much should you be using? You have to talk to the person you're talking to about your health. Please do consult them and take the dosage that you need. So that brings us towards the end of our presentation. Please do visit my website, nutri007.com. If you need any help with your, you have questions on how to go about, any questions on immune health, you want to set up one-on-one appointments for any specific health condition that you are going through, please do that. Please do visit my website. Thank you so much for joining in.